What's going on, everybody? Toby1 Shinobi here, and today I'm going to show you how to master the most powerful movement ability in Fortnite Chapter 5 Season 2, and that is the Cerberus Dash. Now, I'm calling it the Cerberus Dash because you get it from the Cerberus Medallion at Grim Gate, and when you have that medallion on you, you basically have 3 dashes that will recharge over time so that you have infinite dashes. And I am always going for that medallion because I gotta say, this ability is straight overpowered. It really is when you know how to use it well. And I'm gonna teach you how to do that today. So let's jump right into the video, and we're gonna start with some basic tips of how to best use the Cerberus Dash. All right, tip number 1 is do not waste your dashes. All right, you get 3 dashes every time you touch green water or you're holding the Cerberus Medallion, which you can drop for your friends and have them recharge their dashes and then drop the medallion and give it back to you, by the way. So you get a maximum of 3 dashes at any time, and you really do not want to waste these until you absolutely need them. So don't waste them just trying to get around the map unless there's more green water to go and touch to get your 3 dashes back. So definitely save these for fights when you really need them, because they will save your life. All right, the next thing to note about the Cerberus Dash is that you will always go faster if you are moving forward, especially in a sprint. So if you're just jogging, jumping, and dashing forward, you are not going to go nearly as far as if you are sprint jumping, dashing, and then landing into a slide to keep that momentum, and that is really important. So if you want to skate, if you have the Cerberus Medallion, you're going to keep recharging, go ahead and sprint, jump, dash, and then land into a slide, and then jump again out of that slide into another dash into a slide again, and you go crazy far super fast. You can also dodge left, right, backwards, but you won't go as far. Now, if you dash left and right, you can actually land into a slide as well if you want to carry that momentum, if you want to shoot people while sliding, etc. Now, you might not know this, but you cannot actually dash straight up into the air. Every time you look straight up and then you dash, you will go forward a little bit. So if you're trying to get on top of a building or something like that, you're going to have to step backwards a bit in order to clamber onto that ledge. Now, the Cerberus Dash is absolutely outrageous when you pair it with slap barrels or any type of infinite stamina ability here. So as you can see here, I have the slap barrel effect going on, and that allows you to keep that sprint jump going, and that's what I'm talking about. That extra distance when you sprint jump with it really sends you. Now, another interesting thing you can do is use Flowberry Fizz, the Wings of Icarus, and your dashes to get some nice momentum through the air, moving very fast and floating with low gravity. So you can cover a lot of ground that way as well. Now, as you are going up hills, if you want to get up a hill really quick, you can dash and then land into a slide and then dash again to land into another slide to get up the hill with some very fast forward momentum, just like that. You can also use the Cerberus Dash combined with the Thunderbolt of Zeus and teleport in between throws to make yourself much harder to hit, because one of the biggest downsides about the Thunderbolt of Zeus is that you will get fried out of the air being a static target. Now, another interesting mechanic, which is kind of niche but can help you, is that you can actually dash through doors and end up on the other side of them a good distance away from the door. Now, it's hard to do because, as you'll see right there, I hit my head, so you kind of have to wait till the last moment and let yourself fall to the ground and then hit the dash. That was a little too early. You'll see me do it right here. You just jump, as you fall, you dash. And you can see I went through the door and now I'm on the other side quite a ways out. So if somebody's on the other side of a doorway and you want to catch them by surprise, go ahead and try this one out. You can also Cerberus Dash out of a sprint slide and then a dash through the door, and it will basically be the shoulder bash effect through a door as well. All right, now let's get into some gameplay and show you some actual examples during game and show you how I'm using my Cerberus Dashes against enemies to outplay them and kind of the different tactics that you can take advantage of. So here we are, we're fighting another team over here. Hit that guy for 116. Hit him again for 116, and in my mind, that is a push. I can deal with that guy quickly and then fight the other one. So I'm going to go ahead and shockwave in to close the gap. Now, that's important because I don't want to waste my dashes getting over there, because I plan to use my dashes during the fight. So we'll see how this plays out. We hit that enemy and finish him off real quick, and now we're in a 1v1. We've done 87 damage. Now we've done 100. All right, now you're about to see my enemy shockwave away. Look where he lands right here. He lands right about the tip of this little hill right here. And I'm showing you that because a Cerberus dash is basically just as good as a pure horizontal shockwave. Check this out. Sprint, jump, dash, and I'm basically in the same spot. He doesn't really expect it. He thought he had time to heal, and we're already in. Now we dash in on him again and him with the gatekeeper before he can get the shockwave off. And that is a very effective strategy to dash in on your opponent to land some nice damage, close that gap quick, take him by surprise, hit him with a nice shot, and then dash away or get into cover very quickly because they don't really expect you to come in so quick, and it allows you to land massive damage just like this. So we hit him before he could even shockwave out, finish the fight. If I didn't have a Cerberus dash, that guy probably gets away. All right, now we're in another fight. We're in end game. There's a team on this gas station over here. I'm gonna go ahead and move this car because, just a note, you do not want a car next to a bush because the enemies will shoot the car, it'll light the ground on fire and the bush, burn your bush, and then you won't have a bush and you'll be taking a lot of damage. So hit that player for 120, 120 on the other, and that's 2 players that are now half health, and I'm feeling confident about a push. They're not going to expect me to dash forward and then dash upwards. Now, this is the beginning of one of the most important things you need to start utilizing with the dash is verticality. You can get onto really high objects by dashing upwards and then clambering, and these guys would not expect me to get up here so quickly, and so he had no idea, and he's like, oh geez, and his friend jumped off. Now notice that I'm going to save my dashes for this fight. I do not have the Cerberus medallion in this situation right here, so I'm trying to save my dashes. I'm just going to go ahead, land a couple gatekeepers on that guy, and I have not taken any damage, which is great because now the next fight is coming, and this is for the end of the game, all the marbles, and we got 1 dash, which is going to save our life or probably make this fight really, really easy. Here, I'll show you. So I see this bush, there's 2 guys ahead of me, and I'm calling out to my teammate, let's move to the bush. And I have 1 dash, which is all I really need. 1 sprint, jump, dash, and now we're in the bush, and these guys are stuck out in the open. We've got concealment, and they don't. And that just makes the game super easy for us. If I didn't have that dash, it would be a lot more awkward. I wouldn't really have the ability to cover that ground as cleanly as I just did and be able to fire on my enemy as quickly. I could be using a shockwave, but I'd be up in the air and I'd kind of be falling down slowly, or I'd overshoot the bush. You know, it's just not as quick to get into a position. So the dashes are all about getting into positions really, really quickly, getting in on your enemy really quickly, and that is how you want to use it. Now, you don't want to be really dashing in on people and just taking 50-50 fights without any dashes left. So always try to conserve those dashes until you can get close, and then you start doing the juke movements. You hit them once and then you juke back out into some cover. Try to always play cover. Don't just be out in the open dashing around because that is not going to work. You're going to run out of dashes. You're going to get shot by other enemies. You want to be back into cover. So play smart with your dashes. And here's an example of this. So I'm playing some cover here. I have 3 dashes. I hit that guy for 110. I hit the other one earlier for a snipe shot as well, so they're hurt. We notice this. We dash, or we jump outwards, and then we dash right back in so that we're not going to get melted by 2 people at the same time, right? I don't want that player in the back hitting me. So let me go ahead and finish that, and now we have a 1v1, a series of 1v1s, and this player is actually looking at my teammate. So that could have been a lot worse. I probably could have taken a significant amount of damage, which could lose me the fight with the 3rd player. So just basically jumping one way and then dashing the other is a really, really effective move, especially to jump out of cover, land a shot, and then dash back in. So that's what I'm talking about, playing cover with these dashes. Don't just jump out and expect to just win every fight because you used a dash. People do track it, and once you're out of dashes, you're in trouble. So see, I saved my dashes, and now I could use it for that final fight. That is really paying off for me. This person comes sliding in. I can see footsteps right there. So I hit a nice little jump into a slide, and then we use the dash once they have us targeted, right? I don't really need to use it right away until they start landing some fire on me, until they actually like have me in their sights. Then I'm like, okay, I dash out, and then it's easy. All right, here's another example. Now we're going to use verticality, I think, again in this clip right here. Put some nice damage out, and now we're going to Flowberry Fizz Shockwave. Now I mentioned the Flowberry Fizz with the dash earlier. It's pretty darn good because you're up in the air and then you can dash different directions. Now, I'll just note right here that whenever you're shockwaving towards an enemy and they have a sniper scope or just really at all, you might as well be just spamming your AR, hip firing your AR in the air and trying to land some damage. This may have saved my life right here, hitting this player with this AR shot, because it's going to shake his scope. It's not going to give him a clean shot on me when he's trying to snipe. Okay, right there. That was the move. Makes this fight super easy. So we have Flowberry going, which is already kind of throwing him off because I'm up in the air shooting him. He doesn't really imagine me having this angle probably, because I land right on this roof and then I jump again. So I'm pelting him and then he's gonna look up to try to hit me right here, and I'm dashing away in the air and I'm already high in the air. So now he's like really confused. And you can see he's like, he takes a second, he pauses right there and he's like looking for me, still hasn't seen me. And by the time he actually sees me, he just dies. Now we see footsteps coming in and we're just gonna dash over this little fence here, get to safety, reload our gun. So again, notice I wasn't just dashing all over the place, using all my skulls and kind of wasting my dashes. I use my dash when I really need it, and I really need it right here to get out of this engagement because I don't have a shotgun that's loaded. I need to reload my shotgun. You can hear that guy actually takes a shot at me, but misses because I get right over the fence. Now we're going to run back in here, and notice I'm not using my dashes to get up the hill. I'm saving them for combat. Okay, I get in right here, get a nice little angle, and I dash down here to avoid the tree coverage that I wouldn't be able to see this guy, and that gives me a nice easy shot and keeps my teammate from being thirsted as well. Okay, so here's another example of that verticality, taking people by surprise. This guy was coming in quick, and I thought, let's turn this around. He thinks he's going to take me by surprise. I'm just going to dash straight up, and boom. So you can see, come around. He gets some nice damage on me, I'm not going to lie. He really hits me hard there. I'm not sure what shotgun he was using, but it was probably a gold something. But either way, he did not expect that because it was a vertical dash. People do not expect the vertical dash.
Nobody expects
the vertical dash. They have a hard time dealing with it when you go from low ground to high ground very quickly. All right, next up, we're getting third-partied here. So we're gonna go ahead and get some cover. We're gonna reload our weapons. This guy's dropping on us. We're gonna play cover as best we can. He dodges behind us, and now we're gonna dash in on him. He's gonna get to cover. I'm gonna go ahead and reload, and now I'm gonna dash behind him, and boom. So dashing in on people, try not to dash straight at them, just a little bit to the side, and try to land behind them because it takes them a long time to turn around and look at you. Try not to dash right in front of people so that you basically land in their crosshairs. You always want to dash behind them and try to get a little angle so it's not super easy for them to just melt you as you come in. All right, so now we've got another scenario where we are actually using a shockwave right here. And I apologize for the tearing here. This is actually from a stream recording, and my frame rate, I didn't have G-Sync on, so I'm getting some screen tearing, like a vertical line through the screen. Apologies for that. So here we go. We're coming in. We're going to shockwave up, and we're going to dash forward, hit a nice little 30 on this guy. And then watch this. We're going to shockwave and then dash backwards so that we don't actually get thrown from our shockwave. Now, the reason we're throwing the shockwave is because we want to break the tree quickly, take this guy by surprise, and then dash and not get thrown away. He really does not expect it. He falls to the ground. He has wings out, but by then it's too late. We dash in again. Would have been a lot cleaner if I had my shotgun reloaded. It would have been a pretty cool clip, but still decent, right? Just, he had no chance in that entire fight because of the movement combinations I was using with the dashes and the shockwaves. Yeah, just stood no chance. Flew over his head again, landing over their head, going vertical, getting behind them, and it takes too long for them to turn around and find you. All right, here's an endgame scenario against a fairly sweaty player. We've got the Dash Medallion and Zeus's mobility, which is a pretty crazy combo. It's about just as powerful as Flowberry Fizz because it gives you that extra height when you're jumping around, and it's pretty wild. So We hit a nice little jump. We dash backwards. We dash back over. We hit him with another shot. And now we just wait for him to come back over. And boom. Pretty wild movement right there. And I gotta say that combo's super fun. But notice the verticality, and again with the fences here, they just don't expect you to dash over the fence. They have a hard time because they can't see you as you're coming in, and all of a sudden you're over their head, and it's just too much to deal with. Right, so we dash backwards so that we're not like just in that corner. Avoid that shot. Now we dash back in, hit him with another shot. And boom. You know, I could tell that player is a good player, but got absolutely bamboozled because the movement's just too crazy, right? Like no one can keep up with that. It's wild. So if you start using your dashes like that, vertical over walls, breaking line of sight from your enemy so they don't see where you're dashing from, super, super powerful. All right, here's another instance. I had this player hurt. Go ahead and thirst. And now we've got two players pushing us, and the dashes are great for getting distance from people, getting some space so that you can reload, do that sort of thing. So I get enough space right here to reload really quickly, get behind some cover, hit a nice headshot for 218, and then we have the reload glitch on our SMG. That is a thing that's been happening this season, actually for a while now, not even last season as well, is when you pull out a weapon, sometimes it just starts reloading. Like I clearly have ammo here, but it's gonna make me reload, which is annoying. But we still got the job done. And now this player is getting away, and we use a couple dashes. I have the medallion right now, so I'm regenerating dashes as we're flying and chasing them. It's the only reason I'm using those two dashes there. Otherwise, I'd be touching green water. So we're gonna come over here, hit him a couple times. He's gonna dash, hit him out of the air with a nice shot, and then dash onto this little bridge, and boom. There's just no chance that I get this kill without dashes and the Cerberus medallion, especially, right? So the Cerberus medallion is absolutely crazy. This guy, I mean, I probably could have, I guess, if I touched green water, but just the chase ability and the movement to keep up with players like this who are trying to get away, shockwaving or flying or whatever, it's pretty wild, the repositioning, right? Getting on this same height as him, being able to melt them like that is just pretty amazing. All right, so my main tips here is just to use more vertical dashing. Get up in the air so players lose sight of you. Also use cover. Do not be burning your dashes when you have cover. Just be playing the cover instead of your dashes, and then dash when you really need to get out of that cover, when someone's pushing you, or that sort of thing. So save your dashes. It will save your life. It will make a difference in the next fight. So try to only use them when you need them. Now I'm going to give you some little bonus footage, and that is using your dashes to get all 7 god chests inside of Grimgate. Now, if you land at Grimgate by yourself, or there's just not very many players, you can go ahead and do this little speed run here. We'll show it to you. And this is using dashes. The dashes allow you to loot this fairly fast. So we're going to land at this tree over here towards the southeast of Grimgate. And that's 1 god chest. We're going to go ahead and get some dashes going. Now, I didn't have my sprint stamina up, so now I'm moving slow. Now I've got it back. And we're going to go ahead and do the sprint dash, and we're going to go ahead and keep using our dashes because we have so much green water again. We just dip our toes really quick, and then we walk back to the next god chest right here. And then we're going to go for the 3rd god chest, which is out here, right down this hallway. Dash in, break this. And then we're going to go ahead and use some verticality again, using that vertical dash. We're going to go ahead and touch our feet in the water. Here, look upwards, dash up again. And then we're going to back our legs up against the wall right here because, like I said before, is you do not dash straight up. You have to back up if you want to go basically straight up. If you want to try to get onto this roof, you're going to back up all the way you can, because if I dash, I will hit the edge of this roof from under it because I'm going to run into the wall. So I got to back myself up, and then I can clamber up and we can loot this god chest right here. Cool. And now we're dropped down into the water right here. We just hit a heal. And then we're going to go dashing upwards over here. Touch our feet again in the water. Always touch your feet in the water. Get those skulls on you at all times. We're going to loot that god chest up there. And then we're going to go ahead and dash around this mountain. We have our wings, so that helps with moving a little bit quicker and not taking fall damage. We'll loot this one over here, and then we're gonna go for the 7th chest out here. So we're gonna go ahead and hit a sprint, slide, and then I know there's water down below, so we're gonna go ahead and burn another dash just for speed, and then we loot this one. And by now you should have a pretty godly loadout. I wasn't even grabbing a lot of the weapons from the chest. I was just kind of showing you where they are. But yeah, pretty crazy run. And again, just shows you the ability of these dashes to get around all of Grim Gate that quickly in say like a minute, maybe minute 30 seconds or something like that. To loot 7 god chests is pretty wild. All right, guys, I hope this video is helpful. I hope it teaches you how to use dashes effectively in combat, how to conserve them, and maybe some tips and tricks that you weren't aware of with this new dash effect. Now, I gotta say, this is the most powerful mobility we've ever had in Fortnite, in my opinion, in terms of juking in combat without actually leaving your feet while having your gun out. It's just wild. So if you can master this ability, it's really going to help you, especially if you got that Cerberus medallion and you always have it. Now, final note is, again, try to keep those dashes on you. Try to carry your skulls to the end game. Even if you do not have the Cerberus medallion, try to keep skulls on you if you can to the end game. If your teammate has the Cerberus medallion, ask them to drop it so you can get your 3 skulls, and then you can go ahead and give it back, and you guys can share those charges with each other. Just pass it around to all your team so everyone has dashes, because it will make the difference in a fight and it will save your life. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Have yourself a great day. Shinobi out.